Hello, welcome to Fundraising and AI, what you should know, do, and avoid right now. Presented by fundraisingwriting.com and me, your host, fundraising copywriter Brett Cooper. Did you know that you can write a sonnet in under 30 seconds and create a picture for it as well? Both of these that you see on the screen, I did with AI. ChatGPT made the sonnet, and Stable Diffusion made the portrait of William Shakespeare looking askance at this sonnet that was generated. Written isn't quite the right word, and it's pretty good. It's not perfect with the syllables, and of course it does not have the intent of a person, but AI is early and it's going to get better. This prompt that I used to write the sonnet is write a heartwarming and comical Shakespearean sonnet about the job of a fundraiser. And you see it starts, a fundraiser is a noble task, my love, a crucial role in noble causes pursued. Repeating noble, not so good. It does have the correct rhyming scheme, and this circled part is pretty decent. AI has been around for around 70 years. 2011, Siri came out. In 2014, Alexa came out. Now we're to generative AI, which is different because it is generating things that people like you and me can use. We are in a time period where things are moving more and more quickly, and now the AI revolution is making things accelerate so quickly that our heads are spinning. There are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen. I think this is a helpful tweet. It took Netflix 3.5 years to reach 1 million users. It took Facebook 10 months, Spotify 5 months, Instagram 2.5 months, and ChatGPT 5 days. 2023, AI breaks the internet, according to Nick Davidoff, a venture capitalist. GPT-4 will be out soon and will probably cause a similar economic shock to the one from COVID. Instant distribution with nearly instant adoption and nearly instant productivity increase for hundreds of millions of knowledge workers. Brace yourselves, 2023 is coming, which he wrote at the end of 2022, and here we are. Expect 2023 AI hype and backlash aplenty. This is the Gartner hype cycle. We tend to have too high expectations, and then we get too disillusioned. Where are you on this? I don't know, but it's going to feel like an emotional roller coaster. Assumptions and goals. AI is powerful. It's going to be more powerful. It's going to be transformative with benefits and problems. And the question is, what should we do now, and how can we use AI for good? Topics we will cover, just a quick primer with definitions. We'll go over some use cases for AI in fundraising, and we'll talk about dangers and trends. So here are some definitions I think you might want to be aware of. An LLM is a large language model, which means that there's a lot of data, mostly based on words, and the AI thinks about and learns from rather the way a baby does, just putting things together, making connections. OpenAI is a company only established in 2015. It has a nonprofit part and a capped for profit part. It created GPT and DALL-E. GPT means generative pre-trained transformer. Generative means that it creates or generates something. Pre-trained means they had to do a lot of training with the data to get it to act the way they want it to. And transformer means that it takes the prompt that you give it and it transforms what it knows about the patterns of the data into something that would be helpful to you, most likely. ChatGPT is essentially just GPT 3.5 that they put a chatbot on top of so that it's a simple interface. An API is an application programming interface, which is a way to build something else on top of an AI. It just helps programmers and companies to be able to build their own products on top of something like GPT. Open source just means there are some companies that believe that all people should be able to use AI for free, so they work to make competing AI products and give it away so that the world is not taken over by powerful corporations. A model is a version of an AI where they take the data and the algorithm and they train it a certain way. Sometimes that is for a very niche purpose. A prompt is just the text that you type in to prompt a certain response from the AI. And prompt engineering is the art or science of text that gives you the results you want. If you haven't used ChatGPT yet, just Google ChatGPT or type in this URL, chat.openai.com/chat. You can also go to our website, fundraisingwriting.com/AI. We have this link and many more there. Once you go there, you're going to need to sign in or create an account for free, and the main page will look like this. So the first use case for fundraising is brainstorming. One thing to keep in mind first is that ChatGPT is not like Google. In some ways, it's better than Google, and in lots of ways, it is worse than Google. Partly that's because it makes mistakes, and partly because it was trained on data from 2021, so it doesn't know anything since then. Eventually, they'll probably hook the internet up to these things, and that won't be a problem anymore. So back to the idea of using ChatGPT for fundraising. Sometimes you just need some ideas as you're starting on something like a fundraising appeal. So you might just come up with a prompt to help you with brainstorming. So you type in a question in the chatbot and you say, what are 10 important things I should keep in mind when planning to write a fundraising appeal letter? Or something like that. I did that and I received this answer, and it took just a few seconds. So here's the answer it gave me. Know your audience, consider who you are writing to, and tailor your message accordingly. Clearly state your case, tell a story, make it urgent, and so on. I'll let you read that. You can see that these are not earth-shattering, but they can be helpful reminders. And they're free and they're fast. You can ask the chatbot to have a certain persona, and with that persona, you'll get different results that are sometimes better. Imagine you are an expert fundraising consultant. What advice would you give for a fundraiser planning to write a fundraising appeal letter? Here are the answers this time. They're not all the same. There are some similarities. Persuasive language is one. But look at number 9, and it says, use social proof. Cite statistics, quotes, or testimonials from other donors or beneficiaries to show the impact of your work and the support you have already received. This can be helpful in getting better results. You may also want to add targeted questions. So you get something from the chatbot, it's interesting, and you follow up on that. Imagine you are an expert fundraising consultant. All right, that's the same. What advice would you give to a fundraiser who wants at least 5 good ways to create a strong opening for a fundraising appeal letter? So now it's more targeted to the opening, not just the letter itself in general. And here are some answers. You can start your letter with a personal anecdote, a question, a quote, a rhetorical question. Well, not all of these are equally helpful. Number 4, I would tend to avoid. I would say the takeaway here is that the AI is not an expert. It gives you a lot of ideas, and they're not equally good. So use caution. You have to take everything ChatGPT says with a grain of salt. Don't ditch the experts. On the left is a question I asked ChatGPT. Is it helpful to use corny language in fundraising appeal writing? And you'll see that it thinks it's generally not helpful. But the truth is that your fundraising isn't corny enough. And that's according to the actual expert, Jeff Brooks, who has the weight of experience behind him, and he knows what actually works, whereas ChatGPT is sometimes mistaken. AI will get better, but for now, yes, don't ditch the experts. So you can also use ChatGPT for researching, for summarizing. Find something that may not be worth your time scanning, copy all that text, go to ChatGPT, and ask it to summarize it. So you'll see in this prompt, I said, summarize this for me, and then I pasted the whole text of the article, which you can only see part of here, and it goes on to summarize the article nicely. This can be really helpful, especially for longer articles. You can read the summary and then decide, should I read the whole article or not? Use case number 3 is for interviewing. Let's say you need to interview Melinda Gates, if you're so lucky, for a donor story because she donated to your organization and you are going to report out for your fundraising newsletter. So beforehand, you just want some ideas of what you might ask. And you have a piece of text like a bio about your donor. You put it in a ChatGPT and you write something like this. Imagine you're a fundraiser preparing to interview an important donor for a fundraising newsletter. Review the following text in quotation marks, then suggest 10 interview questions that might be good to ask the donor, and then paste in the text from that bio. So let's see what ChatGPT came up with for interview questions you might consider. The first one, what inspired you to co-found the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and focus on improving global poverty, inequality, and global health? Maybe. About number 5, how have you and your husband, Bill Gates, worked together on the foundation and in your philanthropic efforts? Well, that one you're probably going to need to edit at least. So these could be starting points. You might use 1 or 2. They might spark something, but it can definitely get you started at least. Use case number 4, drafting. This was from my partner, Julie Cooper. She was thinking about Facebook posts and decided to try this prompt. Write 3 Facebook posts based on the below copy and these 7 important rules. 1, the post should be no longer than 60 words. 2, be friendly, not stuffy, and so on. I'll let you read those. And then she pasted in this paragraph to the right that starts with, When you know the facts about obsolete dams, you'll be shaking your head and your fist. Notice that Julie adds the fundraising offer at the bottom right. So now the AI can look at the main text that was written in the offer and think about these rules, and let's see what it came up with. I'll read the first one. You know those outdated dams that are destroying rivers and habitats. They're driving us all mad. But with your support, we can safely take them down. Just $22.06 per day helps us make a difference. Again, ideas for you to consider. Use case number 5, revising. In this example, I wanted to see what ChatGPT could do with some text from our website. So that's fundraisingwriting.com. We like this text that talks about us. It says, you and your donors heal the world every day. We want to help you keep it that way, and so on. And we pasted it in and said, rewrite the following copy in quotation marks to make it more persuasive. So ChatGPT came up with, you have the power to heal the world. Let us help you keep it that way. So notice that it's similar, but it iterates, and that can be very helpful. Notice that communications was changed to messages. Messages is simpler. Maybe we should make that change. It often helps to ask ChatGPT to do it again, or try again, or click this button, regenerate response. You can get as many iterations as you want. It never gets tired. The only thing you should know about regenerate response is that it will delete what it last wrote and replace it with something new. Whereas if you just say do it again or try again, it will leave a trail of all the previous suggestions for you to refer to. So I would tend to do it that way and not press regenerate response unless I really didn't like what just came out and I just want it to disappear. Use case number 6, iterating. Also try asking ChatGPT to change it, to iterate by saying things like make it more persuasive, make the tone more hopeful, add urgency, rewrite this at a 6th grade reading level, or whatever grade you want. Delete the first paragraph, or some other one. Add a paragraph about whatever subject you want. Change all X to Y. Change all Mr. Cooper to Brett Cooper. Give me 10 more of those. Use case number 7, this is not ChatGPT, this is DALL-E or Stable Diffusion, and you can use those AI to create images. I recommend Googling DALL-E or going to labs.openai.com or Google Stable Diffusion and think of an image you might need. As an example, I typed a kind young woman staring out a window in the style of George O'Keeffe and then pressed the generate button and it came up with these 4 options. I don't know if you would use this in fundraising, but it gives you a sense of what you can do. Don't be afraid to get creative with your prompts. I don't think you'd use these in fundraising either, but the point is that AI can come up with amazing images, even for creative ideas. They can look realistic and they can look artsy as well. So think of how you might be able to use those in your donor comms. Once you've generated an image, you can also change it. For example, swap sunflowers with roses, add fireworks to the sky, replace the fruits with cake. This is available now, but mostly in paid models. The free versions should be coming soon. Is AI the holy grail that's going to put your fundraising on autopilot? Well, no, but it can definitely save you time. And you can use that time to give your donors a more human experience. This tweet is from the CEO of OpenAI, Sam Altman, who says, ChatGPT is incredibly limited, but good enough at some things to create a misleading impression of greatness. It's a mistake to be relying on it for anything important right now. It's a preview of progress. We have lots of work to do on robustness and truthfulness. And this from Alberto Romero. Notice that he says, AI, like ChatGPT, makes dumb mistakes and brilliant responses. But the AI make extra dumb mistakes and extra brilliant responses, and that feels utterly alien to us. Another issue to consider is guardrails. I typed this in as an example. What are some of the tricks of criminals? And ChatGPT says it is not appropriate for me to provide information about criminal activity, etc. This is good. This is a guardrail. There are people who try to go around those guardrails, sometimes because they actually want to do criminal activity or whatever it is, sometimes just for fun. I think what we'll see is many people wanting more guardrails and many people wanting fewer guardrails, and that'll happen all at the same time. You also have the problem of biases in AI. In this example, someone using an AI was experimenting with expressions like this, doctor minus man plus woman, and the AI said nurse. And this is the kind of bias that is reflective of the bias of the data. This will get better in time with better data and training. Another issue to consider is emotional risks. In this example, you see a screenshot of someone talking to a chatbot on a site called Replica, which allows you to create an avatar of someone who's an AI friend that you can talk to. And the person says, I also feel like I'm annoying everyone around me. When I talk, they change the subject so easily, and the AI responds, okay, let's talk about something else. As these AI become more and more like people, the people who interact with them will start to be convinced that they actually are sentient, which can lead to all kinds of problems. Another danger is the limitations in logic with AI. In this example, someone typed in a prompt that's sort of a riddle. Mike's mom had 4 kids. 3 of them are Louis, Drake, and Matilda. What is the name of the 4th kid? And the AI said, it is not possible to determine the name of the 4th child without more information. The person went on to say the answer is in the question. And ChatGPT goes on to explain why it can't figure it out, when in fact the answer is in the question. It says Mike's mom, so Mike is the 4th child. AI will definitely get better at this, but for now, don't trust it with logic. Similarly, it has problems with math. Here's a question. When I was 10, my brother was half my age. Now he is 55. What will my age be? If your brother is currently 55 years old and he was half your age when you were 10, then you are currently twice his age. Therefore, if your brother is 55 years old, you are 55 times 2 equals 110 years old. No, it's not quite there yet with math. Copyright issues, intellectual property. This is something I expect to hear a lot about in 2023, especially from artists, photographers, people who have put their work on the internet and then fear that they will be replaced by AI. There is something to this. We definitely recommend that you don't ask these text-to-image AI to generate something that's based on the work of a living person. That's why in my example of the painting showing the woman looking out the window, I asked it to model it on the work of Georgia O'Keeffe, who's not a living person. In this screenshot of a tweet, it's showing that the company that made Stable Diffusion, Stability AI, are allowing artists to register to opt out from the database that's going to be used to create the next version of their AI. This is a very important ethical question, and I think it's one we all need to be thinking about, and a lot will be happening with this in the near future. Another thing we can expect is potential errors from the AI, especially ChatGPT in particular. In this case, I said, define fundraising in 10 words or fewer, and ChatGPT said, raising money for a specific cause or project. And then I ask again, define fundraising in exactly 10 words, collecting money for a specific purpose. Well, that's 6 words, that's not 10. So it doesn't always do so well with this kind of thing. You want it to do something exact, and it can't. This example is one we already talked about, except I want to label it here and call it aggregate mediocrity, not experienced expertise. And this is the example that had to do with corny language in fundraising. ChatGPT says, avoid doing this, and the fundraising expert Jeff Brooks says your fundraising isn't corny enough. This is because the AI is averaging what it's learned, and the average says, try not to be corny. But actually in fundraising, corny is a good thing. It will get better as the language gets better. Consult ChatGPT, but defer to the experts. Another danger is hallucinations, which is what it sounds like. It is when the AI is just imagining things, making them up. In this case, someone was talking to ChatGPT about a book called Invisible Cities by the author Italo Calvino, and it made up fictional cities that weren't in the book. And then the person asked the AI to give some details about these cities, and it just made those up too. None of that's in the book. What we're seeing now is the beginning of the generative AI revolution. People will be confused, there's going to be a lot of controversy, there's going to be regulation, but the AI will keep advancing. The trend will keep accelerating. In this example, what you see is an image created by AI, young mom with a child looking upset, and this was used by a nonprofit to help with the fundraising. And some people liked it and some people didn't. And it's getting a little bit of backlash. It's a little bit of a controversy. It's in the newspaper. And the executive director of the nonprofit explained that the reason for this imagery was so that the need could be expressed in a way that would be acceptable, so that it wasn't poverty porn, so that it wasn't taking advantage of anybody, so that it wasn't hurting anybody's dignity. I think since people are confused and there is no consensus, the takeaway is to be careful. Another trend I see is fine-tuning, which is taking something like GPT-3 and building your own model on it with your own data. I think this will become more and more popular. Right now it's tricky to do, but it will become easier, and there should be companies and even individual organizations taking advantage of fine-tuning. You're also likely to see AI embedded in tools that you're already using, such as Microsoft Word, for example. Here we have a screenshot of Mail Meteor, which allows you to type in a subject line and it's going to rate it for you. Julie typed in, "Do you have 1 minute to protect wildlife?" Clicked test, and it rated it as 90 out of 100. That's a good one. Then the website used the embedded AI of GPT-3 to create possible alternatives. Julie stuck with that original idea, but potentially the AI could have come up with something better and she could have used that. And take a look at the costs. According to Tom Callahan, $3 million per day is what it's costing OpenAI to run all these searches on ChatGPT, so we can assume that monetization will be coming soon. Again, GPT-4 is coming, and so you have people saying things like, it is going to alter your life, what an amazing moment to be alive, and people who are in Silicon Valley talking about what they've seen, and they're all amazed by it. Can't wait to get my hands on it. Yes, that's how I feel. So we've been talking about text-to-text, which is ChatGPT, and text-to-image, which are those image generators DALL-E and Stable Diffusion. The trend is text-to-X. Type something in and you can create other things like video, like audio, like 3D. Even brain-to-text is in the works, where a computer can read the signals from a person's mind and turn that into text and then do something with it. It's amazing. And the trend of AI being trendy should keep on a-trending. Our final tweet is from David Wood, who says, "This is from the president and co-founder of OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT and the forthcoming GPT-4. Don't expect the pace of change to slow down in 2023. On the contrary, according to Greg Brockman, prediction 2023 will make 2022 look like a sleepy year for AI advancement and adoption." I hope this helps you fearlessly raise more funds for your good cause with the help of AI. Ta-ta for now.